Hey everybody, it's Mark, Dr. Deadwax, and it's time for day 17 of the Inbox Challenge. And today's numbers were selected by CrateJunkiez, who I think is Casey, and I think maybe you had a different username in the past, or a couple, but I'm pretty sure it's Casey, or I might have you confused with the other names. Anyways, thanks for picking the numbers and playing along. As you can see, the glare is back, but if I hold my hand here while I do these, we can just not be bothered by it. Okay, I'm not doing that. Mott the Hoople, Mott. This is like their 5th or 6th record. This is a Canadian pressing. It is a uni-pack, where the record comes out of there. And I don't have an issue with uni-packs. Some people absolutely hate them. But my one question is, why is the glue on every uni-pack total shite? So, first Canadian pressing on the standard red Columbia label, which is exactly what you would expect for this record. 1A stampers. Unfortunately, the record has a lot of surface scuffing, which leads to a very noisy record. It has some light scratches and stuff on it too. I got this free in a box of records, so you know I didn't pay anything for it, so it's not a big deal. I don't know what to do with it. Musically, not a huge fan of Mott the Hoople, in all honesty. It's not really my thing, and I don't know. And Ian Hunter, I've never been a huge fan of Ian Hunter. And I always get him confused with Ian Thomas, who lives here in my city. He was the brother of Dave Thomas from SCTV. And I don't know why I get this. I'm totally locked into that my whole life. The Ian Thomas, Ian Hunter, same thing, same thing. They're completely different. Some of the songs on here are actually good. All the Way from Memphis was the hit single off of this, which is, it's okay. But Hymn for the Dudes is okay, and Ballad of Mott the Hoople is pretty good, and I don't know. It's an okay record. I'm not a huge fan. This didn't sell me on them either. I don't know what to do with it. I mean, it's VG minus close VG. It's kind of too rough to do anything with, except maybe send on to a charity. Next up is the Dells, Love is Blue. I had no idea what the Dells was, but I saw this cover. You know, it's in gorgeous condition. It's in the shrink still. It looks, you know, could be a little psychedelic, could be a little cool. I don't know. And then on the back, you got these kind of sexy Georgia O'Keeffe flower renderings, butterfly. I don't know what the hell, but it's kind of. It looks kind of psychedelic. So I'm like, what the hell? Let's check it out. And it's not psych. It's like doo-wop, R&B, vocal harmony band, disco, funk. Like, that's kind of the arc the Dells' career took. Now, the Dells are actually probably the longest surviving, and this is on Cadet, it's Canadian pressing on the GRT label. It's probably the longest surviving band in music. The Dells have been together with the exact same lineup for 50 years. I think, and the only reason why that lineup has changed slightly is one of the guys died. But the other 4 guys that were left are still the same, and nobody else has come in the band. So that's like 50 years. And then for 9 years before that, it was almost the same band. Basically, this band is unchanged for 59 years, which is unheard of. And it's kind of Motown-y. I think the guys are from Chicago. I don't know. And, you know, I see all this, and then there's this huge, do you see it? There's this huge rub on the record here. Now, often I buy these when they're like that because you can't feel it with your finger. And typically, if you can't feel it, you know, nobody wants to buy these because of the way they look, but they, you know, they usually play through fine. This thing ticks for the whole side. So it's basically unlistenable. It's G. The music is not my scene, so this is on its way out. But I will keep it around in case somebody has a Canadian copy of this and wants the cover, because The cover on this is just perfect, except for a delete mark down here. But, you know, a gorgeous, if you've got a Canadian copy of this with a pooch cover, let me know. We can figure out how to get it to you. But this is, you know, a very, very clean still in shrink copy. So far we're not doing too good. Next up, and that was $2 at a thrift. So that I lost on. Robert Fripp, God Save the Queen, and Robert Fripp, Under Heavy Manners. This record has 2 titles because he felt that each side deserved its own title. So each side is complete with label information and you know, company publishing information on both sides with the label stuff. So this is Fripp's second solo record. It comes with an insert sleeve that explains all of the concepts and stuff that's going on. This is a great record. This is Frippertronics. He was still working on it, still developing it. Frippertronics is like his patented, I think it's patented, technique of looping, layering, building sounds with guitars, then looping another one on top, and just creating all of this beautiful, and you know, layered, textural, ambient, sometimes rocking. It's just gorgeous stuff. This is on Editions EG, and you can see. Oops, you can see here where it says Fennel. That's the name of the guy who owned these records. This guy put Fennel on everything. And what's interesting is, on one side it's side 1, and on the other side it's side A, because he didn't think that the record should have a side 2 or a side B. So, you know, all playing into this concept. And I can't remember, yeah, it's Vandergraaf Generator did a record that each side had its own title with different covers and stuff like that too. So, although the cover is not really different on this, it just kind of feeds, whereas the Vandergraaf has 2 completely unique images. So the God Save the Queen side is kind of straightforward, Frippertronics, layered, looping, textured guitar sounds built upon each other. The God Save the Queen song is not God Save the Queen. He recorded the guitar tracks, I think, solo live, and like improv. And somebody suggested that since it was like the 10th anniversary of Hendrix's Star Spangled Banner at Woodstock, that he'd do his take on it. So he kind of started with like the 4 notes of God Save the Queen and then just went off on his own thing. There's no vocals or anything on that side. Side 2 is, I guess it's labeled Discotronics. It's got and both sides, you know, he recorded the stuff, and then he had a drummer and a bass player come into the studio and put down their stuff over top of his live Frippertronic tape loops. And then on the first side of side 2, there's a vocal track, and I thought, this sounds an awful lot like David Byrne. And when I looked it up, it actually was David Byrne singing under an alias or a pseudonym. And he kind of like speak vocalizes. He's not so much singing. And the second side 2 is a little bit more funky, a little bit more disco-y. You know, it's a little bit more disco-y. This is great, great record. I think it's my favorite Fripp solo record. This is kind of one of the ones I didn't have. I paid $5 for this at a show. Just great. I like it better than Exposure or his work with The Legal Gentleman or stuff like that. This is excellent. I can't recommend it enough. I'm constantly disappointed with how noisy the Editions EG vinyl is. You know, most of the stuff on there can be very textural and very soft, ambient. This record's very ambient and soft and quiet, and the vinyl is just, it's always crackly, popping. It's like new vinyl. In the Deadwax on side 2 of this, there's nothing in the Deadwax on side 1 except the matrix code. On side 2, written is red 2 scopes. Don't know what that means. Now on other copies of the record from the States and Europe and different places in the world, there's different things written in Deadwax. On one pressing, for example, side 1 has music is the cup which holds the wine of silence. And side 2 of that record has art is the capacity to re-experience one's innocence. A different pressing has new music is not a style, it is a quality on side 1, and side 2 of that pressing has all succumbs to the face of persistence. So I don't know if he came up with these messages, if he told different countries' mastering engineers to write something weird in DeadWax, or if he sent a list of what he wanted in the DeadWax. I have no idea. But anyways, that's some interesting DeadWax messages. Next is the Electric Indian, Kemosabe. And this is... I saw this and I called a friend of mine. I said, what the hell's this? He's a DJ. And he said, oh, you should buy that. That's got some cool stuff on it. And I saw it. I saw like the Cylon with the feather. I thought, you know, Battlestar Galactica, whatever. This is from 1969. This is an all-instrumental record. And it's like, you know, if you play this record for me, I'd say it's from 1975. It's wow, is it ever disco-y, funky, dancey, stuff like that. It's on United Artists. And the only thing interesting about the DeadWax on this is it says mastering by Frankfurt Vane Fila again, which I talked about previously. They were at Philadelphia, opened a second branch. New York City, they're still making vinyl. They're still mastering vinyl today. They closed the Philadelphia branch, but the New York branch is still open, run by the daughter of one of the people from back during this period. I talked about it 3 or 4 days ago. Kemosabe is the big hit off this. Big, huge instrumental hit. Like a record executive said, you know, there's this fascination culturally with the American Indian, which I've talked about, you know, in other videos around this time, and he said, let's put a band together and capitalize on that and make some Indian funky stuff. So he put a studio band together in Philadelphia, and they created Kemosabe, and then they had a huge hit with it and recorded the rest of the album to capitalize on the success of the single. The rest of the songs are kind of all over the map. I heard it through the grapevine. It's just horrible, and Spinning Wheel is horrible, and Storm Warning is okay, and Rain Dance is pretty good, quite good. Geronimo is quite good. Only the Strong Survive is okay. My Cherie Amour is terrible. What Does It Take to Win Your Love is terrible, and 1, 2, 3 is okay. This is kind of like, it's good. It's interesting. It's you know, I know that like it's been sampled a lot. It's interesting, novelty, instrumental. It's like disco lounge at times. It's all over the place. Sometimes it's really good, funky, disco-y, drive and dance, and sometimes it's a little schmaltzy, disco-y lounge. So the band that was put together to record this record by this guy, they eventually became, like a year and a half later, they released their own record, and they were MFSB, which I think stands for Motherfucking Sick Breaks, or Motherfucking Sick Beats. Or maybe it stands for Mother, Father, Sister, Brother. Anyways, and they are most famous, I would say, for writing the theme song to Soul Train. I think that was Don Cornelius? I'm not quite sure. So they're famous for that. So I paid $2 for this into the Rift, so I'm not overly invested, but this really appeals to a friend of mine who's a DJ. He was the one that told me to buy it, and you know, it's good. I'll play it the odd time. It's kind of cool. It's not my favorite thing, but you know, it is what it is. And finally, the last record, Elton John, Honky Tonk Chateau. This is in a, oh, and this is a sample copy, oops, sample copy, not for sale. And this is in the always wonderful packaging with the flap, and opens up into this gorgeous large gatefold. It has the image on the front tipped on, wasn't tipped on quite within the lines that it was supposed to be tipped on, but, and it has the has this 3D, I don't know if I can, yeah, you probably can't see that, but the Honky Tonk Chateau and Elton John are 3D embossed. This is a Canadian pressing. It's made with US plates. It's on the Uni label. This is basically as early as you can get in the pressing run. It has number 2 stampers on both sides. I don't know, it's a sample copy. I don't know if there is actually a white label promo of this on Uni that would have the number 1 plates. This is a near mint copy. I picked this up for $1 at a record show, and I couldn't be happier. Just a great pressing and a glorious sounding copy with, huge bottom end, brilliant crisp piano. Mids are just gorgeous. This is just, I have other versions of this record. I buy all of them that I can find. I'm just kind of trying to find the best copies of early Elton John records that I can find, and this is definitely the best copy of this that I have. I think anything Elton John did up to Captain Fantastic, I think, is worth having in your collection if you can tolerate Elton John. He was making excellent music back then. And a couple of the records he made, I think Mad Man and Captain Fantastic, are actually masterpieces. I don't agree that Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is a good record. I think that record is too disjointed, too many kitschy songs, too many throwaway songs. It should have been a single. But he had just the most fantastic lineup of players back then with Nigel Wilson, Dee Murray, and Davy Johnson. And look, Jean-Luc Ponty's on this. And Bernie Taupin was writing probably the most interesting lyrics in rock and roll from all kinds of unique perspectives. He wasn't writing songs about sex, and he wasn't writing songs about drugs, and he wasn't writing songs about fast cars. He was writing songs all over the place. So, it's got that going forward. And Elton was creating really interesting music and really good vocal performances, and he was on his game, and he hadn't gone schmaltzy and disco and sappy. And so this record is very good. It doesn't quite flow as well as, say, Madman or Captain Fantastic, but it's pretty damn close. It's actually Rocket Man and Honky Cat. They might throw it off a little, but it has the classic Mona Lisas and Mad Hatters, which I don't know if that was ever released as a single, but if it wasn't, it should have been, because it's just a monster of a song. So, very happy to get this. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day, and keep the record spinning.